Every morning, the moment you open your eyes and start your day, you're already carrying a heavy load without realizing it. You wake up with expectations, worries, imagined scenarios, leftover thoughts from yesterday, and problems that haven't even happened yet. Before your feet even touch the floor, your mind has already loaded you up with things that don't exist in this moment. This invisible burden, this constant need to control everything, is quietly stealing your peace and happiness. So right now, take a slow, deep breath. Let your shoulders drop. And remember this simple truth. You don't have to fight everything. You don't have to predict everything. You don't have to worry about everything. The core teaching of Buddhism is straightforward, yet rarely fully lived in our fast-paced world. The less you cling, the freer you become. The less you care about what you can't control, the happier you are. Suffering doesn't come from what happens around you, it comes from your attachment to those things. Life itself isn't hard. What makes it hard is your resistance to it. Picture yourself carrying a bowl full of water. If you grip it tightly, terrified of spilling even a single drop, your hands tense, your body stiffens, and every step feels exhausting. But the moment you relax your grip just enough to move naturally, the bowl feels lighter. The weight hasn't changed, only your relationship to it has. This principle, the less you care, the happier you become, isn't about becoming indifferent or careless. It's about intelligent letting go. You still love. You still act. You still move forward. But you stop pouring wasted energy into things that don't deserve your stress. It's not your love that hurts you, not your work, not your future, not other people. It's the way you cling, as if everything depends on you holding on for dear life. For over 2,500 years, Buddhist teachers have repeated this. Inner peace doesn't begin the day everything gets perfect. It begins the day you stop worrying about what's beyond your control. Try this for just 24 hours. Let things be as they are. Let people be as they are. Step in only where your presence is truly needed. You'll be amazed at how much lighter your mind feels when it stops meddling in what isn't its business. When you watch your mind closely, you notice something surprising. It doesn't worry because the situation is truly serious. It worries because it thinks that's its job. Your mind is like an overzealous security guard who never learned how to rest. It patrols even when everything is fine. It invents problems just to stay busy. Buddhism teaches that suffering starts exactly here, when the mind takes up too much space and refuses to stay simple. You're not unhappy because life is complicated. You're unhappy because your mind turns everything into a complication. A delay becomes a disaster. A comment becomes a personal attack. Uncertainty becomes a threat. An expectation becomes an obsession. And the tragic part, about 90% of what you worry about never actually happens. You've probably noticed, the things you feared most often never came true. The biggest challenges in your life usually arrived out of nowhere. So why keep torturing yourself with what hasn't arrived yet? Why give doubt a head start? Buddhism offers a complete shift. Instead of letting things control you, let them flow through you like wind, like water, like light. When someone criticizes you, it's not the words that drain you, it's your clinging to them. When a situation worries you, It's not the situation that destroys you, it's your mind replaying it over and over. When you're waiting for an answer, it's not the silence that consumes you, it's your refusal to accept not knowing. Imagine a mind that doesn't cling, a mind that notices, understands, and releases. That mind isn't weak. It's free. You can't stop the waves from coming, but you can learn to surf instead of drowning. Look at Zen masters. They live in the same chaotic world as you, yet they move as if nothing can truly touch them. Why? Because they understand that peace isn't found in perfect circumstances, it's found in the inner distance you create between yourself and what affects you. That space, that breath, that non-reaction, that's what changes everything. Suffering begins when you give too much importance to people and things that don't deserve it, when you confuse real problems with imaginary ones, when you punish yourself mentally for things you can't control. The moment you see this clearly, a huge relief washes over you, and you finally understand. The less you care unnecessarily, the lighter you become. The less energy you give to what drains you, the more strength you reclaim. The less you cling to what slips away, the more peace you feel. You don't need everything to be perfect to be happy. You just need to stop fighting everything. As you let go of non-essential worries, something remarkable happens. Life starts to feel breathable again. The tension in your body eases. Your mind clears. Things that felt crushing yesterday suddenly seem manageable, not because they changed, but because you did. Buddhism teaches that real transformation doesn't happen when the world becomes simpler. It happens when your relationship to the world becomes less violent, when you stop waging inner war against everything that moves. You stop forcing control over the uncontrollable. You start living at a different level from most people. You've probably met someone who stays strangely calm even in the middle of chaos. You wonder how they do it. It's not that their life is perfect. It's that they don't donate their energy to things that don't deserve it. They don't get emotionally invested in what's not theirs to fix. They don't dwell on useless words. They don't let others steal their peace. They've learned a fundamental law: what you feed grows. What you ignore fades. Feed fear, and it takes over. Feed worry, and it suffocates you. Feed the need to control, and you lose everything. But feed peace, even just a little, and it naturally expands. You truly start caring less when you realize you don't have to join every argument. You don't need to be perfect. You don't have to explain your soul to people who can't understand it. You don't force what isn't meant for you, and you stop seeking validation from others. A Zen master once told his student, "The day you no longer fear disappointing people, you will be free." That's exactly it. A mind that doesn't care unnecessarily becomes a free mind. And this freedom starts in the small moments. When someone speaks harshly, you choose not to absorb their energy. When life overwhelms you, you breathe before reacting. When things feel stuck, you loosen your grip instead of tightening it. Because often, it's not the situation that's blocked, it's you. Your mind is clenched around one idea: it has to happen my way. But life doesn't obey your will. It follows its own rhythm. And here's the beautiful part. When you release the need to control every outcome, things often start falling into place naturally because you're no longer resisting them. You flow with the current. You become like water. Life opens to flexible minds and closes to rigid ones. As you lighten up inside, something almost magical occurs. You come back to life. You notice details your anxiety once hid: the softness of a slow breath, the warmth of morning light, the simple taste of tea, the presence of someone you love. None of this is extraordinary on its own. It's your full presence that makes it extraordinary. As long as your mind is cluttered with worries, you're never truly where you are. You're physically there, but not really there. The less you care about the unnecessary, the more present you become. And the more present you are, the happier you feel. Buddhism emphasizes this key point. Happiness isn't something you chase. It's something that naturally emerges when the mind quiets down. Joy is already inside you. You just have to remove the layers of fear and control smothering it. Think of your mind as a lake. When strong winds blow, the water becomes choppy, murky, restless. But when the wind dies down, the lake clears and reflects everything perfectly. Your mind works the same way. It's not broken or weak, it's just being whipped around by too many useless thoughts. The moment you decide to care less, even just a bit, the inner wind slows. Suddenly, you see more clearly, feel more deeply, understand more truly. You stop reacting impulsively. You become the master of yourself, instead of a prisoner to the moment's emotion. The most beautiful outcome: you don't just become happier, you become wiser. You make better decisions. You tire less quickly. You no longer need to prove anything. You avoid pointless conflicts. You stop fearing loss of what must leave or waiting anxiously for what must arrive. You become someone rare in this world, a person no longer ruled by fear. You also realize that many of your worries weren't even yours to carry. They weren't your role, your battle, your responsibility. But because your mind was trained to suffer, it tried to shoulder everything. True Buddhist happiness is recognizing what belongs to you and what doesn't. Handle what you can control. Release what you can't. Breathe in the space between. And keep walking. One of the most powerful secrets of letting go is learning not to absorb what isn't yours. Buddhist masters often say, most suffering doesn't come from what happens to you, it comes from what you take in without discernment. You take other people's emotions too personally. You carry burdens that aren't yours. You let hurtful words sink deep when they were never meant to guide you, only to wound. But a wise mind, one that cares less, one that's freed from the reflex to personalize everything, stops absorbing indiscriminately. When someone speaks in anger, you see that their anger is about them, not you. You don't take it in. When someone criticizes without cause, you understand it reflects their inner state. You don't absorb it. When you witness injustice or coldness, you recognize it as their inner turmoil spilling out. You don't let it enter you. This isn't indifference, it's spiritual intelligence. Your mind is like a home. You can open the door to some things and close it to others. That's not a lack of love, it's sacred protection. You don't need to be open to everything. You don't need to be affected by everything. You don't need to let everyone disturb your calm. Inner peace isn't a lucky state, it's a gentle but firm discipline. You learn to say inwardly, "This concerns me, this does not." Over time, This discernment lifts an enormous weight because you see that much of your suffering came from letting other people's storms into your emotional field. Imagine your mind as a bowl of water. Every borrowed emotion you drop in creates ripples. Every harsh word you accept without filter stirs the surface. Every worry you take from someone else becomes your load. The day you stop absorbing whatever passes by, your inner water clears. Clearer thoughts arise. A truer vision emerges. You sense what's authentic for you. Here's the key. The less you worry about what you can't control, the more you master your peace. Serenity doesn't come from a perfect outer world. It comes from your inner ability to say no to unnecessary disturbances. You start to embody the stillness of meditating monks. They hear the noise around them, but it doesn't enter. They see the storms, but nothing pulls them from their center. Many people confuse detachment with escape. They think caring less means becoming cold, distant, or uninterested. But Buddhism teaches the opposite. True detachment is a higher form of love and maturity. It's not running from life, it's walking through life without being destroyed by what you encounter. Running away is fear. Detaching is understanding. Running away is closing off. Detaching is staying open without being vulnerable to everything. Running away is abandoning what you love. Detaching is loving without unnecessary suffering. Buddhist detachment doesn't take anything away. It clarifies. It lets you love without losing yourself, help without draining yourself, listen without absorbing others' wounds, give without forgetting yourself. You become free not by dropping everything, but by dropping what hurts within everything. You can love someone deeply without carrying the weight of their inner storms. You can pursue big goals without constant anxiety over the outcome. You can live in noise while protecting your inner quiet. You can go through hardship without letting suffering define you. This quiet strength, felt more than explained, arises from knowing what merits energy and what deserves to pass untouched. Every unnecessary attachment is like a poisonous thread tying you down at work, in relationships, in memories, in fears, in expectations. You pull and pull until you can't move anymore. But the moment you release even one thread, something relaxes. Something breathes. You realize you didn't need to be tense to move forward, worried to succeed, or clinging to love deeply. You can live, act, love, and create without mental chains. This is what the masters call inner freedom, a freedom untouched by money, location, family, job, or circumstances. It begins with one decision. I choose peace over control. From that moment, everything shifts. You're no longer pulled by fear, you're guided by clarity. You're no longer tossed by emotions, you're held by tranquility. You're no longer swallowed by worries, you're relaxed in what you can actually do. You don't need to become a monk or retreat to a temple to live lighter. You don't need to overhaul your entire life. You just need to change how you relate to things. It starts in your thoughts, in how you let things pass, in breathing before reacting, in releasing what harms you, in not absorbing what isn't yours, in choosing one less worry each day. In the Buddhist view, happiness isn't a miracle. It's mental hygiene, daily cleaning of unnecessary worries, gradual release of toxic attachments, and the choice to stop feeding suffering when life already gives you real challenges. Most people suffer because they try to control the uncontrollable. The wise find peace by moving with what life offers. You can choose to be light in a heavy world. You can choose calm in chaos. You can choose to be master of yourself when everything around you shifts. No one can stop you. This is your freedom. This is your path. Pause now. Look at your life and say honestly, I'm going to care less about the unnecessary and live more. That's all it takes to begin a deep transformation. If this resonates with you, carry it forward. And if you'd like more teachings like this to support your journey, consider liking, subscribing, and turning on notifications. Most importantly, drop a comment below. I choose peace today. That's your quiet commitment. Thank you for listening all the way through. May your mind be light, your heart free, and your path clear. Namaste.